Good morning, guys. Thanks for tuning in today to Real Estate Steals, Deals, and Opportunities. And today we're going to talk about how to, determine how much profit is in a deal, how to calculate profit on a flip property. So for those of you who are looking to invest and, everybody's presenting and offer deals to you and opportunities, and especially, realtors, they've got things in the MLS and you said, hey, I'm ready to buy something, fix it up and sell it. Well, everyone can present the opportunity to you, and it always sounds like, hey, you buy it for 80, you spend 10, you sell it for 150. What a deal. And that's why everybody's jumping on this property, right? And it's still available. So if you're not working with a formula, you'd be tempted to make the wrong decision just based on that kind of conversation every time. So let's go into this today and see how you can protect yourself to make sure you pay the right price for a property. So every opportunity can sound like a deal, and it's so easy to get caught up in the emotion of doing it. The excitement of renovating a property and earning a profit may cause us to overpay or even justify what we could do differently to ensure a profit on that deal. So calculating the numbers on the deal can certainly help us remove the emotion from the decision. When we make smart business decisions, we increase the likelihood of better profits. Using proven formulas to run our business is the smartest move we can make, right? Because we're not doing this to lose money, we're doing this to make money. So we're just going to take a little bit of time today to talk about a simple formula that anyone can apply and use right away. I mean, there's elaborate formulas out there. There's calculators and all these things you can subscribe to and find on the internet, and they're all great. They're wonderful. And they can take a lot more things into consideration. But for you to just get the gist of what you really need to think about, to boil it down to, can I make a profit on this deal? There's a simple formula we're going to talk about right now. So these are the line items to that simple formula to help us real estate investors determine profit. And those items are purchase price, what are we paying for this property? Renovations, real estate taxes, insurance, utilities, the cost of closing it, the cost of money, our total expenses when you add all of that up, compared to the price we're going to resale it at, the cost of closing that deal, and then what the number looks like when we subtract one from the other. All right, so let's go into a little more detail. All right, so we're going to describe how you fill in the dollar amount that goes with every one of these line items, okay? So you can write this down, you can download these lessons and follow this yourself. And this is something that we've actually created in-house ourselves in an Excel formula. So if you're good on Excel, you can create all kinds of formulas for yourself and, in lieu of finding formulas out there. If not, this is simple, this is easy to use, and of course you can always access those other calculators online. Okay, so the purchase price is the price we are paying for this investment property. Renovations would be the total dollar amount we are going to spend renovating this property. So from construction to landscaping to new central air or heat or whatever it is that we're going to do, we're going to add all of it together here, and this is what we're going to spend on this property, soup to nuts, okay? Real estate taxes. So the portion of that annual real estate tax amount that we will pay for our ownership of this property. So if we only plan on owning this property for 6 months max, then we're going to take half a year's real estate taxes and put it into our expenses. Insurance, the same thing, right? So the portion of that annual insurance cost that we'll incur. Now, some people buy insurance just for that 6 months, and that's your figure, okay? Utilities, the total cost of all utilities and maintenance during our ownership. So how much it's going to cost me to pay the electric bill and keep the electric on while I own it, how much it's going to cost me for water, how much it's going to cost me for lawn maintenance or pool maintenance or whatever type of maintenance or utility that I'm going to pay for during my ownership of this property. And then the cost of closing it. So what are the total closing costs to purchase this property, okay? And then my cost of money. So this is going to vary for people. Some people are getting loans and some people have their own cash. And even when you're using your own cash, we recommend that you put a cost to it so that your cash makes some money as well, right? But that's up to you. So the total cost of financing to carry the deal during your ownership. So if there's financing involved and your payments are virtually interest only because you're, at the very beginning of your loan, and most investor type loans are interest only anyway, then we're going to make X months worth of payments. So again, if we're using 6 months as our amount of time, then we're going to say, here's all the money it costs to buy the home, all my financing expenses, as well as 6 months worth of payments, okay? And then we're going to add all of those figures up, and that's going to be the total amount that we plan on spending on this property during our ownership. Then we're going to take into consideration the resale price, which we already talked about. So this is the amount that we realistically expect to sell the property for. So even if you're going to market the property for a little bit more, when you're calculating your spread, your profit, you're going to want to use a number that you're satisfied with taking, a realistic number that you think even if you market it higher, maybe you'll get more. But let's be conservative here and say even if we only get this price, this is what we're going to use, okay? And then all of your costs to close the deal at that dollar amount. Okay, so then the total amount after subtracting the cost of closing from the resale price is your gross proceeds, Then subtract the total expenses from the upper amount of expenses from that gross proceeds amount to determine your potential net profit, right? So it always looks good on paper, and that's why we move forward with the deal. So now let's look at that with real figures behind it. All right, so where do we get our numbers from? We're still talking about, right? So we're in this renovation now. This is some real numbers we can put to it to get an idea of now how this is going to look when we put it into the formula. So in this particular scenario here, our purchase price is $100,000. Now our resale price is $187,000, right? Wow, it's got $87,000 worth of equity. It always sounds like a lot of money, but it gets eaten up quickly when we start putting the dollar amounts in. So we're calculating here that our total renovations are $35,000. Our portion of real estate taxes during our ownership is going to cost us $1,235. Our 6 months worth of insurance is going to be $850. Our utilities is going to run us $1,475. Our cost of closing the deal is $2,000. And our cost of money here, hey, we're going to go out and get some financing, and it's going to cost us a little bit with 6 months worth of payments. So we're going to eat up $11,000 worth of money just owning this home with our cost of money. So when we add all of that up, we expect to be into this home for approximately $151,560, okay? So when we take our resale price of $187,000, and like I said, maybe we're going to list for $199,000 or $195,000, but we're hoping to get at least $187,000. We feel that that's a realistic number. And we determine that our cost of closing is approximately $16,830, taking into consideration 6% real estate commission plus a few percentage for closing costs, okay? And you can really narrow down your closing cost figures by asking the closing agent to give you a preliminary closing statement showing what it really will cost, okay? And that's better, easier way for you to get a really close number, more accurate than just a guesstimation. So even when I use percentages, I go a little high on my percentages so I can build in a cushion all the way down the line and hope that my potential net profit is really a safe number and I'm actually going to make more. That's always our hope, right? So when we take our total gross of $170,000 and we subtract our total expenses of $151,000, we're going to get a potential net profit of $18,612. So based on that, we determine that we think this is worth the reward, right? The reward is worth the risk, and we're going to move forward because we believe an $18,000 return on a 6-month project with $151,000 out is a good return. And you can actually calculate your returns, have a formula built into your Excel spreadsheet that says, here's what your return on the investment is. And remember, we're borrowing most of the money here too, so we really have a good cash on cash return, right? So anyway, there's a lot of ways to determine the profit, but if you are living off of these profits, like a lot of real estate investors that I work with do, you have to determine, can you live off of $18,000 over a 6-month span of time? And if not, then you should be doing multiple deals or you have other things going on that's bringing in income, okay? So we're going to move on from here, and we're going to give you some simple additional tips in how to take that number and really make it a safe number and move forward in the deal that is good for you. So using simple formulas are certainly better than using no formula at all. And much better than sitting in your car outside the property to write down what you think the numbers are, hoping not to forget any important line item. I've seen so many investors do this with their yellow pad because they want the deal so bad. There's other people there looking at it. They want to call in an offer, and so they forego actually sitting down and plugging in all the numbers into their spreadsheet and making sure they can do it. So I really, advise against that, and especially when you're newer, it's too often that even experience, we can forget a line item that could be substantial. So using the right numbers with accurate figures, that's the other key, is another vital factor in using any formula. So if we use the right formula, but we're wrong about the renovation amount, well, that could take that whole $18,000 and just wash it right away because we were wrong. We missed something completely. We were too cheap to pay for a $300 inspection, and we assumed a lot. So we were wrong on our numbers. So it's great that we're using a formula, guys, but we've got to make sure that we're plugging in accurate figures. Okay, so that's another part of your formula that you can't afford to mess up on. So adding to that, the number of days estimated ownership is also crucial to narrow down a more accurate figure. So if you believe you can turn the property in 90 days, well, that's certainly going to increase the amount of money you make. And if you're using your own cash, it might still look like $18,000, but if you can turn these houses in 3 months, well, then you can turn a couple more houses a year than you could if it was just a 6-month project. So sometimes the amount of time it's going to take you to do a deal has a big factor in it as well, because we could both be looking at deals that make us 20 grand, but profit. But if mine only takes me 2 months to do and yours takes 6 months to do, which deal is better? So sometimes we're going to pass on a deal just because the amount of time before we get the return is a major factor. So there's a lot of room for error for newer investors because they just, they don't know what they don't know. So many benefit from using a cushion or miscellaneous figure in the formulas for this reason. So you might actually add in a line item that's called miscellaneous or mistake or what I don't know, whatever you want to call it. And maybe it's a percentage that you take off of the numbers there, and it's a 20% cushion, a 10% cushion, or you just say, I'm going to put $5,000 in as a cushion here because we don't know. Again, we don't know what we don't know. I put a $5,000 cushion in my numbers all the time. And if it's a bigger renovation, something like, wow, this house really needs everything, I might put $10,000 in. So it really depends on what I'm looking at and how quick I have to make a decision. So if I'm being asked to make a decision on my offer for a property that's not going to allow me any inspection period, okay, because they want to know it's sold, then I might say, wow, with just the walkthrough I was able to do and the pictures I was able to take, I'm going to have to do a lot of guessing here. Fortunately, I've got experience guessing, but I might say, wow, I'm going to put in a $10,000 cushion here because, I'm having to give up an inspection period to really be sure. And I'm going to put my offer based on that. So here's what I'm going to offer you if I have no inspection period. And here's what I'm going to offer you if I get an inspection period. So maybe I have the opportunity to offer a little bit more, but then I can do an inspection and make sure that I can pay that a little bit more to beat out my competitors because I really want a deal. I really want to put another deal in the pipeline and have some profit coming in. So consider using a cushion. So the last bit of advice is don't be afraid to pass on deals until you really believe you found the right deal and the numbers back you up. Newer investors pass a lot on deals, and it can frustrate you even as well as some of the realtors you're working with because the realtor just wants you to buy a house already and they want to earn the commission. They've shown you a lot of things, but they're not the person taking the risk. They're not the person that could lose their life savings when the figures weren't calculated right. So, when you're newer, hey, do that due diligence. The right deal will come your way, and then you'll get the experience you're looking for and hopefully make a profit in the process. So, guys, I hope you enjoyed that. And if you want to learn more about buying properties in South Florida, certainly reach out to us. We'd love to put you on our email list. And we sell a lot of off-market properties here in the South Florida area, specifically Palm Beach County. So I hope you enjoyed what you learned about calculating profit. And if you want to learn more about real estate investing and other amazing topics online via live interactive video conference classes just like this short one, then check us out at learnfromgreen.com. When you increase your knowledge, you increase your income. Thanks for tuning in.